everyone, this is Manjabeen Baloch from Pakistan and you're watching my YouTube channel Insani Ittihad, which aims to invoke a little bit of humanity in all of us through awareness and understanding. So I think a long time ago, a few weeks ago, one of the very frequent commenter and viewer at my channel actually asked me that who is the worst enemy, or who is the biggest threat to United States of America, in my opinion. And I had been waiting, and I had been thinking how to actually respond to this, because naming one entity or one country, or making the video right away would actually make it a bit insensitive or insignificant and unthoughtful. So I thought I should give it a time, and when I do make a video, I would actually kind of do it with utmost sensitivity and courtesy to this, and take some time to have this understanding on my own, that why do I feel that if I would like to say that this country or this community is the biggest threat to US, and why am I saying this. So I sort of double check on my perspective too and my understanding too just before to upload this video. So in my opinion, the biggest country that the United States, and not just the United States but Israel and the entire world, and including this country itself, should look into that. Why do I have made this analysis? And in my opinion, this country is not only a big threat to United States and Israel, but it is a threat for world peace and a biggest threat to its own security and its own existence. And that country, ladies and gentlemen, is India. And I know I'm a Pakistani and a hijabi, and you would promptly say, oh, that is a biased opinion. She's a Pakistani, she's a hijabi. But what if I tell you that I have lived in India for about 6-7 months in Trivandrum for a course, and I tell you, I received nothing but warmth, love, openness. Trivandrum is and was one of my very, very favorite places. I have made so many Raksha Bandhan brothers there. I'm still in contact with a brother of mine, a friend of mine, Arvind Bala from there. Gauri Shankar Mishra is a very good brother, Raksha Bandhan brother, and a friend. It's a great place. Of course, I have not visited the entire country, and I don't know every single person in India. I am making this opinion on the basis of historical narrative in regards to foreign policy, and the foreign relation that India had, and the Indian communities under the British rule had, how they conducted and how they perceived the world or the outside world. And even still now, when you listen to pseudo or real intellectuals who are from India, you will notice that they, despite the fact that they have been educated in the West, they have exposure to the West, but they have a inherent despise towards the West, and they strongly believe in this narrative that West or British and all these forces after World War II punished India by breaking it into 3 pieces, Indians, I think Indian gurus, to politicians, to actors, to influencers, to whatever you name it, they say we are the land of gold and minerals and whatnot and whatnot, and the British just stole our wealth, and they just destroyed our religion, destroyed this missionaries, converted Hindus and this and that, and they destroyed our they hold the white people responsible for not only the 1947 partition, but feel that a large number of treasure, the Indian treasure, has gone to the French and mainly to the British, and they feel that they have been robbed of their glory and whatever. And then they also, some of the RSS ideology, the Hindu ideology, feels that the British actually empowered the Muslim minority and the Muslim invaders by giving them those Nawab status, or real estate, or this and that. So they actually feel that they are a victim of white supremacy, and therefore they want to get it out, get their revenge. And they tried with Subhash Chandra Bose political campaign to boost the Germans and reconnect these German Nazis to their pagan religion. And they actually, since they blame the missionaries to convert, the lower caste, Hindus to Christianity, and empower them with, money through these missionaries. And these Brahmins and these elite Hindus who didn't, who refused to convert into Christianity or Islam, say that they robbed, the lower caste Hindu people who with to whom these Brahman elites were, like gods and rulers. So they feel that they robbed this power, this monopolistic power of religion, from empowering these lower caste and untouchables, these people, by giving them money and empowering them, and then converting them into Christianity, and giving them this ideology that every human is a equal. So this shattered the class system of the Hindu paganism, and they hold a grudge against the white people who forced the democratic and secular values into the subcontinent. And they tried to sabotage the English people, or to teach them a lesson. In World War I, the soldiers serving in the British army from the subcontinent region refused to fight under under the leadership of Queen, or under the British colonialist flag, or whatever you can say. And then in World War II, many of the politicians and influential people openly supported and praised and tried to reconnect the German people to their paganistic roots, and said that it is paganism which is, it's the real religion, and Christianity is nothing but a fake religion. And all those communities in the world who had paganistic roots were very cleverly, by these Indian politicians who were taught and trained in the West, and they were trying to take the revenge from these white men who brought the missionaries and used religion as a tool. Now they started to tell people that the most ancient religion is the paganistic religion, where you worship kings and these powerful men who abuse women, like Zeus, who just who is a cheating husband, who would, if he gets angry, he would take he gets angry on any of the European king, he would just go on and sleep with his wife, and he would, and the woman sacrifice. The Roman mythology is full of giving human um, sacrifices, and mainly and largely those sacrifices were female sacrifices. So this whole ideology of bringing about this supremacy of paganistic beliefs, where a man is reduced to his sexuality, and woman is also reduced to his sexuality, and the worship of sexuality, and not just sanctifying sexuality, and the higher purpose and this. So they were going against this. They have this campaign of going against the Abrahamic religion, and they first targeted the Christians by because the Christians were the ones who brought the missionaries, and converted people into Christianity. So their target was that Christians are in power, let's bring them back to their pagan roots, and then they would destroy themselves. The pagan Christians would destroy Christianity, and then later they would deal with Islam in a similar way. And now they have started doing that. I mean, whether it is building the biggest temple in the UAE, the pagan temple in the UAE, or in Saudi Arabia, or convincing the Saudis or Arabs, not Saudis actually, convincing the entire Arab people, whether in UAE, but in throughout the Arab world, in the Middle East, that you were pagans first, so your identity foremostly is paganistic. And here was this guy named Muhammad, who forcefully brought you into Abrahamic religions and Abrahamic beliefs, but you're not, you're Arabs, and Arabs were mainly and largely pagans and have nothing to do with Abraham. So you have nothing to do with Abraham, you have nothing to do with Islam. So this detachment that India has carried out through decades and decades, I have come to know this through reading extensively the history of the subcontinent, the history of the European history, and how, especially the history around the political and all narrative based discussions in the intellectual in the intellectual sections before the World War I and World War II. So this was my conclusion, that the the intellectuals of the subcontinent, their way of thinking was as such. I don't know if they have felt bullied by the white supremacists or something. In fact, this term white supremacist comes from these the eastern side of the world. I mean, yes, blacks also used it, but it was more like from the subcontinent people, where when all those Gujaratis and Hindus wanted to have this power position in the British India, and wanted a role, political role, economic role, economic benefits in the British Raj. And I feel that this nexus of getting all the paganistic people against Abrahamic religions is the biggest threat to divinity, to morality, and it is the biggest threat to Israel and United States of America, who are built on the foundation of morality, ethics, and the Jewish values, the Abrahamic values of equality, peace, and creating a divine, purpose of life for for whole of the humanity. If I talk about as in the context of women or women empowerment, it would be fair to say that, it was the white man, and when we say white supremacists, but we have to recognize that it was the white man who gave women the right to vote, the right to representation, the right of choice. It was not men from Africa or men from Middle East or men from Middle East, if they were Hebrews, obviously, they did give a lot of empowerment to, women, as in the ancestry, or your lineage of being Jewish comes from your mother, not from your father. So apart from the Jewish or Israelite people, the rest of the Middle East or Africans or Asians didn't empower women. They didn't, they both Arabs and Indians pursued women as a source of pleasure, entertainment, sexuality, some sort of subjugated, um, um, subjugated a level below than the masculine figures in their lives, or masculine energy. And this has been very eminent in the depiction of their goddesses and gods, the way they depict their goddesses as, the source of beauty and, entertainment and sexuality and, all that. And the only woman which sort of exercises this aggressiveness and this powerful personality, that is the Kali, Mata Kali, and she is depicted as a, you know, a horrible looking woman, a scary looking woman, a dark. Her name is Kali. Ma Kali is like, this woman who is who is ugly and witch-like and this sort of thing. And then when we see the European paganism, witchcraft and this whole evilness and magic, dark magic, is associated with women. So paganism is a huge problem for women empowerment. And in my opinion, well, cutting it short, in my opinion, the way India has recently, it is the way it is forming or going in the direction where it is sabotaging its secularism, it's sabotaging its relationship with West, the way they have maneuvered politically on the international front by boosting Russia to attack Ukraine and, kind of take all the territories of Ukraine, that which Putin feels that belongs to Russia, just because they wanted to claim Gilgit-Baltistan and Kashmir from Pakistan, and just because they want to get reunited with Pakistan. And the reason for doing that is that once they will get Pakistan and India become one country, not only they will have more resources, which are of Pakistan, but they would have doubled their nuclear, capabilities. The Pakistani nukes would go into the hands of Indians, and who knows, they might, do a propaganda and say, well, we we conquered Pakistan. Pakistani army sold their weapons to Afghan Talibans, and now they are using those nuclear weapons against Israel or even against Iran, because there is a strong nexus of Arabs and Indians, because and this nexus, Arab and Indian nexus, actually kind of taught the Arabs that why should you go after Israel militarily when you can damage them through economics and have this fake idea of peace with Israel, and then get all the Israelis to come closer to you, steal their technologies, steal their money, have built that trust, and then when the time comes, stab them in the back, and build a trust, and then when they trust you and they're at their weakest point, hit them hard and destroy them. I think that's a very serpent like mentality of deceiving and then destroying. And on this, Indians are very good at, especially the Gujarati. No offense, but those RSS mentality people, the ones who are crazily and madly in love with the Hinduist ideology, the real lovers of paganism, and this whole, if you study, and I have studied, baby, and at times I've said it so many times, that had I not studied or tried my very hard to understand the Palestinian narrative, I would have had more sympathy and respect for the Palestinians. But since I have studied and known and have spoken to more and more Palestinians and understood more and more of their narratives, I have less and less sympathy for them and less support for them. Similarly, had I not studied about Hindutva, had I not studied about their history and all this thing and political ideology and narrative, I would have said Trivandrum is my favorite place on earth, and paganism and Hinduism is such an amazing thing and all that. I would have said that I had a wonderful time in India, definitely. But it's very difficult for me to make this video because I have friends and I like that place and I do respect that, but I don't respect that ideology that they are promoting and they have been promoting and they have been working on that narrative, and I just don't like that. And that is against Abrahamic ideology, and against Israel, against this monotheistic idea that there is a creator and all of us humans are equal and we have this opportunity to make this world a better place. They, on the other hand, the Hindu ideology, the paganism ideology is that whoever is powerful, whoever is able to bully, the other person has to bow down to that supreme energy, and that could be any human being, any king or anything. All you have to do is to become that bully person. You have heard that Serpent Tate once said that he was in a line and there were three guys in blackout car. They pulled out that car and they came, and he and his girlfriend were waiting to buy food from this outlet, and he deliberately says to his girlfriend, just shut up, we have been standing here for hours, but these macho guys, big 7 feet guys, black, those gangsters, they come and they just don't care about the line and they get the food. So in that situation, that the serpent mentality is, if someone bigger and powerful then comes in, the serpent becomes this, this subjugated entity. And the moment that powerful person goes, he becomes that bully for the girlfriend or for the woman. So this ideology is not the Jewish ideology of standing up against evil. Jews have been always underdogs, shorter in number, shorter in strength, but yet have triumphed over their enemies. Israel has shown that. David al-Malachi has shown that. So against David al-Malachi and Goliath. So our ideology is this, and the pagan ideology is that the bullier is the supreme person is who can bully the rest, and the people who are not the bully should be subjugated, and there has to be classes for everything, and one must be that, one must be, and sexuality is a big part of it, which is, I think, is a big source of destruction for the entire humanity. And in my opinion, Arabs who have very, very strong paganistic roots, and Indians who have, again, the only eminently paganistic community. I think these two communities and their ideologies and their narratives are the biggest threat to not only United States of America and Israel, but entire world, including themselves. This paganistic ideology will first feel like that they're destroying their enemies, but in reality it destroys everything, including these Arabs and Indians. So in my opinion, this is the biggest threat to world peace and humanity. So thank you so very much. I hope this does not offend, and people who believe in such narratives, such political narratives, that this white supremacy is nothing but created. Yes, it is a fact that white people reached out throughout the world, and if they developed the majority of the world. They have created and innovated so much in this world. Their contribution is unprecedented, just like the contribution of the Jewish people is unprecedented, and the credit must be given to them. We cannot say, if there is no evidence of even the Indian people themselves say that Indians have never gone out and conquered people. Even Persian people, they have gone out and contributed to other communities and added value to their own as well, and they were a monothe. I think Iran is a less of a threat to Israel and the US as compared to India and the Arab countries. So I hope the world understands that, and I hope the world focuses on that and understands that. Maybe Indians would have there has to be a discussion over such views. People who hate me or don't like this concept should sit down and have a discussion with people who feel that white man has discriminated Asia or Arab world. I don't feel that way. I feel that India had gained a lot in the invasion, especially the invasion from the imperialist. Much more was contributed to the subcontinent than taken from the subcontinent. I think there should be a discussion on that matter, and the youth should be made aware, because there is so much propaganda that Indians and Arabs, with their collaborations, are spreading into this world. Majority of the negativity and the social media toxicity comes from these two regions, rather than. So I think the US, I hope and pray US and Israel would also focus on Iran. Definitely, we cannot take our eyes off Iran and Russia and North Korea. So yeah, North Korea, Russia, Iran, and even China. Keep your eyes there, but also open your eyes and see the real colors of the Indians and real colors of the Arabs, because they have a poisonous mentality, poisonous narrative, which will destroy the entire humanity. Well, I hope I do not offend anyone, and I hope whatever I said is helpful. And I hope the person who comments on my videos gets to watch this video. Thank you very much. Thank you.